weather with meteorologist Holden LaCroix.
The past 24 hours, we have learned about a coronal mass ejection, and we're expecting 5 more over the next few hours. So the big story about going forward with this is really overnight tonight through tomorrow. The best viewing is going to be anywhere from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. And this is usually the cause of those very vibrant northern lights up into Alaska. Now, what are they? Well, they're just explosions of plasma from the sun's corona that create the solar storm, and that energy is then absorbed by the Earth's magnetic field. Again, gets pulled in toward the North Pole, pulled in toward the South Pole, and we're actually tracking the southern lights, I should say, at this moment down across Australia. So if strong enough, these solar storms can briefly disrupt communications, power, navigation, radio, and even satellite operations. So that is something to be mindful of over the next 24 hours, because if you remember back in 2003, a very similar event like this caused a disruption to communication systems like that. So overnight tonight through tomorrow morning, just be aware of that, especially if you're working late at night. But if you happen to be off, I would recommend going someplace dark, away from city lights, and that is up into the Cascades. So here's a map of where it's expected. Again, across most of Canada, but notice the southern extremity all the way down into portions of Oregon. Here's a better look at it right here. Best viewing is going to be portions of eastern Washington as you head toward the north and the east, and the far limits are going to be down here across Oregon. Now, nevertheless, you can still get a good viewing all the way down to portions of central California. So the big story about tonight is, if you want to see it, the best viewing is going to be anywhere from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. Really anytime after sunset, you could get a glimpse of these, and there's 5 that are occurring, but we're not exactly sure at when these 5 solar storms are going to pass through. One is happening right now over areas of Norway, and that's why we're seeing the northern lights really exacerbated at this point right now. But as we kind of head toward the midnight hours, we're going to be watching this closely, and hopefully we can get a glimpse. Again, this is the biggest one we've had since 2003. Now shifting gears to weather, we are expecting temperatures to remain the same, but luckily we have we have the high pressure system, I should say, in place that clears the skies out to where we can see the aurora borealis tonight. Now, we're going to stay the same inland, but out toward the Oregon coast, we have some big changes underway. You folks got up to around 82 degrees in Florence today. You're not going to get out of the 60s tomorrow, and the difference is we get a strong onshore flow. Now here across the Willamette Valley, getting 80 degrees is not out of the question this time of year. Again, we usually see our first 80-degree temperature around May 10th or so, and believe it or not, our first 90-degree temperature on record was May 7th. So we're right on cue for this weather, and it's perfect timing for the aurora borealis tonight. Again, heat dome remains in place inland. Eventually it's going to slowly weaken, and those subtle changes is going to lead to the temperature drop across areas of the coast. Notice Corvallis 87 degrees down to 76, and that changes especially evident toward Florence. You can see back down into the 50s. Your 7-day forecast for the coast: 63 Saturday afternoon. Cloud cover should hold off until tomorrow morning. Eventually cooler weather will persist for the rest of next week. For the Umpqua Basin, another 90-degree day tomorrow. 70s make a return. Again, most of the cloud cover next week is just in the morning, sunshine in the afternoon. For the Cascades, 71 tomorrow afternoon. Cloud cover streams in on Monday and Tuesday, 68 by Wednesday. And across Eugene and Corvallis, 87 degrees tomorrow. So if you like the little taste of summer, looks like just tomorrow, back to normal for next week.
I love it when it's hot for a couple days like that, but then you get back to the 70s.
Just get like a little taste out there, and then back to normal.
Thank you.
Yep.